Okay, so they gave me trouble and I went live. I have to go back and see if I can fix this. Okay, cancel that. Going live. Can you see me, y'all? I think you can. Going live here. Oh, you do? Okay. All right, then. I'll just act as if this is live. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate that very much. All right, I'm going to move this bowl out of the way, but keep it here because we're going to need that in a little bit. As soon as I tried to go live, something funny happened. I don't know what, but I'm glad that you can see me and hear me. So, welcome to Not Church Sundays. I'm Reverend Peter Panagore, and this is Mystical Christianity through the lens of near-death experience. There was nothing near about my death experience. I think of it as a death experience through the lens of my death experience. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe. Thanks. Let's begin. The Gospel of Mark shows that Jesus, the mystical genius, went first through a calling, second, through an awakening at the river, third, in a realization at the transfiguration when he glowed a radiant light, and finally, an enlightenment shown in his death and return. The life of Jesus, the life itself of Jesus, is his greatest teaching tool. He taught us and showed us love. In the Gospel of Thomas, number 49, Jesus said, "Congratulations to those who are alone and chosen, for you will find heaven. For you have come from heaven, and you will return there again." This is the message of his life to us. This is his teaching to us. You are chosen. You walk the path alone. We all walk the path alone. You will find heaven, because heaven is real with a capital R. And you will return there again. Knowing that I will return there again to heaven, which is what I was told when I was dead in the afterlife, and what I hear in my heart now. And that's really the most important part. I hear it now through the living one present in us. And it gives me strength to follow, gives me strength to follow the teachings of Jesus, the mystical genius who leads by example, living out of his spirituality in the context of the world, of suffering. It was not hypothetical for him, and it's not hypothetical for us. His life gives us the best example of what it means to be engaged in the world and not just navel gazing. Navel gazing is what empowers our spirituality and our action in the world. Inward striving powers outward action. Make your eye single and gaze within. In here. In here is the beginning of heaven. And when you see it in here in your heart, then you will see it everywhere. In everyone. Whether you like it or not, whether you like them or not. It gives increasing balance strength, and courage to all who seek within, to all who seek it. Let me ask you, who are we? What defines us? We are the children of heaven, every single one of us. Beings made of goodness, of love and light at the core and center of us. Aim your eye at the core. See through the darkness that you are a child beloved by the lover above. This is the true eternally truth on earth, the true eternal truth on earth, as it is in heaven. Your true home, so it is on earth. Another name for the lover is truth with a capital T. A name for the liar is deceiver. Our mind deceives us in the world, but it doesn't have to stay that way. We can gaze within to seek the light and find it there. The world deceives and loves the darkness. The deceiver kills truth by making everything a lie. Tell 10,000 little lies until lying becomes the truth and truth becomes the lie. So then who can find the truth? You can. You can find the truth when you look inside yourself. Look now, inside yourself. Look to the love and the light and the buzzing radiance you feel in your heart right now. To do what? To say what after? After you look inside, then what? So much is beyond our control. So what is in my control right now in my world? In our world? What's in our control? There are so many forces out there, big forces, that are coming into conflict. My inner world is in my control. My practice of opening to the connection and reopening to the connection and reopening to the connection to the divine is in my control. Is this not always true? Is it not in your control? My action to seek my beloved is in my power. So let's take a moment here. Now, I know many of you, maybe most of you, meditate, and you know about belly breathing. So let's center ourselves individually, alone, and all together at once. Breathe in and touch for a moment a stillness of mind. Listen to the gong until it is silent, and then let's practice Tong Glen. We breathe in the badness and breathe out the goodness, synchronizing our focus with our breath, breathing in the dark, thick, and the heavy right into our cells, breathing out the quality of spaciousness, clarity, brightness, and freshness widely, as Pema Chodron teaches. Breathe in the bad, into your second chakra, 2 inches below your belly button. And if you like, for the more advanced, breathe out through your heart chakra. Start your mental focus on your heart chakra as you breathe in the darkness. Breathe it through your heart, synchronizing your breath and keeping your mind on it into your second chakra. And then exhale out through your heart. And inhale, pushing it down deep into the cells of your body. And exhale the brightness in your heart. And it will widen your heart. And it joins us together. So let's practice briefly now. First the gong, then the listening to the gong, and then breathe in the bad air and breathe out the good air. May you be the light inside us, inside our breath. May you infill us with your spirit. May you share yourself with us. May you bring us deeper into our hearts. May you let us be the transformation of the world. Let you be what we seek. Let us rely on you. This place, this presence, this radiance comes from heaven and is heaven and gives us strength, courage, and community in the weeks and the days to come. Return to your breath as often as you need it. Find your journey inward to live your journey outward with the light. Live with the light interiorly to live with the light exteriorly, and join it together with others. There are forces of action and reaction in our country out of control, out of our control, out of my control. It will get worse before it gets better. January 17th is a big day. There will be rallies at every state capital, followed by a massing on January 19th in Washington, D.C. Shelter in place, shelter together on the 17th in the temple of your heart. Stay home. Seek the light inside yourself and inside others. Listen with the ear of your heart to the whisper inside you. See with the eye of your soul the light inside others. For everyone. Love your enemies. The most important thing Jesus ever said, love your enemies. Bless those who hate. Pray for those who hate. Greet hate and division with kindness. in public places. What is hate? Hate is the child of lies, blinding us to the light seen in human eyes when looking eye to eye. Look into each other's eyes and bring love to your eyes when you look back. Namaste means the light in me sees the light in you. You are me, and I am you. And that's the God's, goddess's truth. That's the Christ consciousness truth. Go inside to find your strength to live under the pressure of the coming days. That's been my hiding place every time I've been in stress for the life I've lived since I've come back. Dive inside to find your courage, your strength, your comfort, your balance, and come tomorrow, Monday, to our practice, right here on YouTube at 8 a.m. Eastern. Please join us for the Mystic Tea Salon for the second hour of this event this morning on Zoom, and you can find the link under the Programs tab at peterpanagore.love. I'm also available for spiritual and mystical counseling, coaching, conversation, practicalities, and mentoring, all at peterpanagore.love. And I want to thank everyone here today for showing up and for bringing your light and your wisdom, for bringing your connection to the divine together. We make a bonfire of radiance around us and within us. You make that happen. All of us together make that happen. I want to make sure I thank everyone who contributed last week to Not Church Sundays through PayPal or here on Super Chat. You're the reason I'm here, working for the boss. Capital T, capital B, the boss. I think we all need Not Church Sundays. And our community more than ever. If you felt or feel the presence among us here, the radiance, the buzzing inside you, please say so. Because the words I say, they're secondary. The words we think are secondary. Our beliefs are secondary. What's primary? The presence itself, unspeakable, but knowable and experiential. The Spirit, capital S. Peace be with you all. Peace with a capital P be with us all. I'm going to pull away my little teleprompter here. Shift my camera a little. Grab my phone. Set this aside. And pay attention to what's going on over here in the chat. Checking my clock too. It's 10:21. Turn on my clock face so I can keep track of time. Time is this illusion, okay? But here I am, keeping track. Because sometimes you have to live in the practicality of the world, and there's just no effing avoiding it. You can't avoid it. You can't avoid it. I can't avoid it. We live in the world of suffering, don't we? Time makes us suffer. Thank you. Let's see. I want to give some thanks here for the super chats. Kristen, Patricia, and Sommer. Thank you very much. Straighten out my camera too a little bit. Thank you so much. And I see someone else. I don't see who that is off the top of my head. I'm going to scroll through here, starting at the top, and see what the conversation is. What a week. Righteous indignation is an appropriate response. Good morning, Rob, over there in Wales. An inside job, alone we find divine within. Yeah, it's an inside job. Us, we're an inside job. That is the message of Jesus' story of his awakening. It's an inside job, and we have a duty and responsibility to pursue it. So then the magical, wonderful, mystical thing happens. The pursuer pursues us. When you pursue the pursuer turns around and pursues you. That's the best thing of all. That's where the power lies. That's where the power lies. Namaste, self-luminosity. Namaste. Hey, if you want to pop a question up to me, you can throw it up in the super chat. That'd be the fast way for me to find it, if that's what you have, questions. All right. The mystery is inside of me, therefore I seek. Chuck. I am defined by my heart for others, hopefully. God's judgment of me is all that matters. Yeah, the crazy thing is that whole judgment of God is all about love. It's all about love for everybody. Everybody. Those who mind don't matter, pray for them, and those who matter don't mind, my true authentic self. The mind is the greatest slayer of the real. Let the disciple slay the slayer. Quote from The Voice of Silence by H.P. Blavatsky. Yes, I'm going to repeat that. The mind is the great slayer of the real. Let the disciple slay the slayer. That is the summary of the practice of centering, prayer. That's the sort of righteousness, by the way, for you biblical aficionados out there. I control how I react to those who are not nice to me. Yep. And you gain a little more control about how you react to people who aren't nice to you when you're aware that your emotions aren't you. When you can step back, you can feel them, okay? You can still feel your emotions because your emotions are real as far as the real world goes. But in the practice of slaying the slayer, to steal Charlie's little phrase up there, the practice of centering into the oneness of being gives you the strength to have more control over your response in the outside world. Practically speaking, not just the peace you carry around with you, the practical experience of the peace has an impact in the world. The impact of the world, the impact on the world then multiplies itself because you bring peace and not anger, peace and not resentment, peace and not hurt or wounds. That all comes from here. I'm finally here live. Unfortunately, I can only be here for a few minutes. Oh, hi, Brenda. Bye, Bendra. You might not even be here now. Looking forward to watching the whole thing later. Make me a channel of your peace, said St. Francis. Listen to the song of the Prayer for Peace by Reba McEntire. Prayer for Peace by Reba McEntire. I guess Brooke's here. Hey, Brooke. Let's see. Yes, we pray for the government authorities. This is in the Bible somewhere. Yeah, it is. Thy will be done. Bless them. Change me. Tom Glenn makes me think of the prayer of St. Francis. Universal truth. Thanks for the lesson. Wow, thanks so much, says Jim. I was trying to hit the chakra of the heart too today. Love can overcome hatred. I'm floating on bliss, Ali. I feel the presence, says Olga. I feel the expansion of my heart, says, I get that wrong, HJF. I get the F's and the J's move around for me. Our breathing together, especially when they're next to each other, our breathing together and our prayer help me find a sense of peace that you haven't had in a few days. Good. Thank you, Karen. I'm really glad to hear that, Karen. That's what I was hoping today would be about, was providing a space for a little bit of peace for each of us, right here, right now. Thanks, Self-Luminosity and H. I'll just call you H. Thank you. You're feeling it. Happy, joyous, free to be me. Ask. Oh, hi, Colleen. Right. Thanks for the reminder, Colleen. That's easier than H. Sybil, you're welcome. Thank you. And thank you. I think capital one is Kim. I liked your comment the other week. I mentioned the narratives we invest in, and you said it's about letting go of the narratives. Yeah, it's about letting go of the narratives, especially in this time. Especially in this time. Well, my friends, great comments this morning. Lots of wisdom here. Light will always overcome darkness. Just want to reiterate that you're all welcome to come to Not Church, Mystic Tea's Salon, following Not Church today at 11. I don't even see how many people are here. How many, do we know how many people are here? I don't have that information in front of me. Does anybody see that? Or what we had a high number of? Thanks, Charlie. A bit off topic, but for a feel-good movie, see Disney Pixar movie Soul, NDE goes animation. Charles, yes. Disney's Soul. You want a little balm for your soul? You want a little soothing in your life? You want a little bit of happiness and joy and insight that is filled with really great jazz and music and animation and a storyline and characterizations of the divine? You got to see Soul on Disney. Soul. I'm sold on Soul. Thanks for bringing that up, Charles. Like the video. Yeah, thanks everybody for liking the video. 67, 69. Yeah, here at the moment. Thanks. Need some peace right now. So grateful to be here this morning, Sean. I'm glad you're here, bringing your peace with you. Hey, when do we get to hear the chainsaw story? Can you watch it without paying for Disney? Kristen, I'm afraid not. I'm afraid not. But I think Disney gives a wink and a nod for sharing with family Disney Channel. Yeah, okay. So the chainsaw story. All right, somebody asked. This is a fun story. I set up my church. I set up my congregation a week ahead of time. And what I told them was a most famous friend of mine that they probably never heard of because he lives so far away was coming to Booth Bay to visit me. And his name was Reverend Dr. I.B. Awful. I.B. Awful. And I built it up. I put it in the newsletter. I announced it in the town newspaper. And everybody came to church that Sunday morning with this huge anticipation that there was going to be somebody new there today. And I acted befuddled and nervous because he was not showing up. Time was flying by. Everybody starts getting nervous the closer it came till 10 a.m. And he was a no-show. And I'm sitting up in the pulpit waiting for him. And I don't know what to say. I say, I dropped something behind the pulpit. And I duck down. And I grab my clown nose, my red foam clown nose, and I put it on my face. And I stood up and I introduced myself as Reverend Dr. I Be a Fool. I'm Reverend Dr. I Be a Fool, and I'm here to preach to you today. And I need 2 volunteers. And I looked out in the audience and I picked no, I guess I needed 1 volunteer. I'm thinking about it. I was the other volunteer. I need 1 volunteer. All right. I need 1 volunteer, and I picked out a man I thought would trust me. And I didn't tell him ahead of time. because I wanted real reaction. I told him the story of that Jesus told about the speck and log in your eye. To take the log out of your own eye before you took the speck out of your brother's eye. And so what I did for demonstration is I took a log about this long that I'd already made, measured, and fitted with duct tape, and I put it on my head, and I covered my eye with this log. And I went on preaching for a moment, and I invited my friend up, and he stood there, and I pulled out the chainsaw from behind the pulpit, and I had removed the chain. And I said, I'm here to take out the speck of my brother's eye. And I fired that chainsaw up. One pull. But there's no chain on it. And my buddy, he can see there's no chain on it. So he's now in on the joke. And I go at him to the terror of my congregation. And I put down the chainsaw. And I said to them, this is the weight of judgment we carry with us to heaven. This is the emotion that's similar to the amount of the judgment our actions carry with us to heaven. Now you can imagine, lots of people thought it was extremely funny. The tension broke and everybody was in an uproar and laughter, but really not everybody. There were those who were pretty upset at me. They were in a minority, but they were a powerful group in the minority. Sometimes minority rule can be broken with humor and love. All right, back to the other questions. Let's see. So sorry, Wendy, good to see you. You made me aware of something bigger. I love you for that, and I wish you all the best. Yobi Ryan, thank you. Yaobi Ryan, I wish you all the best too. Feeling love with you, Sean. Quite a beautiful and intense. Thank you. Oh, Sean, what the heck happened to you? Love you, Sean. Sean, what happened to you? I don't see it. Or I've read it and forgotten it, which is possible too. How can we tell the difference between high-level consciousness, non-attachment, peace, and low-level consciousness, indifference, self-absorption? Because it flows like a freaking river. It flows like a river inside you. It's the opposite of self-absorption. It's self-realization. It's the awareness that you can tap into the peace anytime you want to. And you never noticed it before, but it was always there inside you. And so when you tap into it and you touch into it, it's like a recognition that it's always been inside you. And it's different than just being indifferent. I mean, you can be indifferent on a city street, walking by a homeless camp. And you might have good reason to be indifferent. Maybe you walk by there every day, but that's a different kind of peace. That's indifference. The kind of peace I'm talking about is engaged peace. It's an engaging, lively, living peace in the real world. And the thing about Jesus's teaching is his life, which shows him as maybe the greatest mystic of all, letting his life be the lesson for us. Lived in the world, mystical experience lived in the world. The peace is this peace that can be shared. It can be carried in the daytime. It can be lived through into the world. It's an active peace. It's a movement and a rest, as it says in the Gospel of Thomas. It's a movement and a rest. And I know it's hard to conceptualize that because it's impossible to conceptualize. It is experiential. And the more you tap inside yourself, the more likely you are to touch it. Touch it once, let it touch you once, and you'll know the difference for yourself. As I've said 1,000 times, the reason why I teach these practices is because they work for centuries across the globe, trans-religiously, in mystical communities everywhere. I hope that helps. You know, if you did this, maybe you feel a little bit of that chi, you feel a little bit of that life force energy. That's the same as the peace. But the deeper the peace, the wider the peace, the more open your heart, the more open your mind, the larger the peace is inside you, and the bigger it grows around you. The further out it extends from you, the more it interacts with your world, the more it interacts with others who carry it too, because it sees itself. That's why when we gather together, we have opportunity to bring the peace with us and share the peace. I bet lots of you have shared the peace of God, the peace of Goddess, the peace of the divine. In church, may the peace of God be with you and also with you. This is the peace I'm talking about. All right. I wish you the best. Thank you, Yahobi, Yaboy, Ryan. Sorry about that. I'm bad with pronunciation. For sharing your stories and always keeping a smile on our faces. Continue to do your best and show us the ways in which you think love to you all, peace and love to you all. I will. Thank you. I will endeavor to do that. If you take offense, something in your ego is in control, says Allie. Oh, I love the chainsaw story. So true. Yeah, it was really, really funny. It was like the talk of the town too. It's like, do you hear about that minister and what he did? Because I ran the joke for a week. It was pretty funny. My wife's like, are you sure about this? But it was really funny. I would go to church if they were all like that, not boring at all. Yeah, so I did Easter, my last Easter service on my stilts. It was a hoot. It was a hoot. How am I going to interpret the word judgment? Many Christians talk about damnation. What do I think about that notion of judgment? When I died, I'll tell you what I know about judgment. Judgment was my action in the world every time I chose to cause hurt in the world. That was my moment of judgment. I judged others in that moment, and in the moment of judging them, karmically, in turnaround, I judged myself. I judged myself. There's no judging others. That's the thing. You're not actually turning out to be judging anybody. It turns out to be you're judging yourself. You just can't see that here. And God didn't judge me. God showed me my judgments of others and showed me the pain that I caused them experientially from their point of view with their pain times 10,000 and my justifications and reasons for making the judgment that I did. All God did was show me myself. And in showing me myself with love and forgiveness, all of that fell away. All of my damnation went away. I had damned myself. Not my fault. There's a bigger story here. I didn't make the world and everything in it. That's not my fault. I just made those choices. And the choice that I made in the presence of the divine was to turn my face toward the divine. And the purgative fire of divine love removed my damnation and judgments from me. And I didn't deserve it. That's all I can say about that, I think. Thanks for asking. Good question. That part of the Bible was added by Mooney, Alfred Mooney. Alfred, I don't know what you're talking about, Allie. Something, the scroll went by me. Mystic Tea Room is not working either. Oh, I don't have the Mystic Tea Room on. I'll turn the Mystic Tea Room on, Catherine, unless there's a code problem. I don't want to turn it on now because it might interfere. I'm already having camera trouble, but I'll turn it on just before Mystic Tea Salon, and then we'll be live on Zoom, Catherine. Yeah, great story, Charles. Catherine, it starts at 24 minutes. Thanks, Mystic Tea. Okay, everybody answered for me. I didn't have to do that. Having a hard time with the discipline of daily meditation. Yeah, it needs to be ritualized. That's what the whole ritual thing is all about. Got to ritualize it. I get good stuff when I'm here, and I can force myself, but I have to jump a chasm to be ready to accept the peace. Well, the only thing that stands between you and the peace is you. That's the leap of faith. That's the leap of letting go. And the only way that happens is in the concentration of it, in the practice of the chant inside your head and heart and breath. The chant falls away on its own. And then you catch a glimpse. You can't make it happen. It's just the opposite. With all the striving, there's a moment at which striving ceases and you just be. And it happens on its own, and you don't have to make it happen. But you do have to ritualize it to make it happen. You have to show up every day for 20 minutes, same chair, same room, same process. Shut your phone off, turn the lights off. I put the earplugs in, I put the blinders on, whatever it is to sit in the chair, get in your whatever form you sit on your bed. I don't know how you meditate or where you do, but same time every day. Set your clock, 20 minutes. 20 minutes. If you have to ring a gong, if you need to light some incense, go ahead, but don't rely on those things because those aren't meditation. Those are helps, like the ritual itself. Thank you, Marina. Thank you. Resurrecting Jesus, excellent book. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. We're going to talk a little bit about Resurrecting Jesus, the book, the great mystic. I can't remember the name of the book completely, but it's Resurrecting Jesus by Adyashanti. We're going to talk about that more in detail at Mystic Tea Salon today, because a bunch of us are reading it. Meditation seems to create an increasing cushion of light, which acts like a filter of sorts, a softness which surrounds me, which helps me walk through the suffering or be less impacted by it. Karen Elise. That's exactly what happens. It's like an aura around you, like a halo around you. And then when you make your choices in the context of your interior light. And that's how it impacts the world. That's how it impacts the world. That every decision is bathed in the light. Every action is bathed in the radiance. It doesn't mean I make right choices all the time, because I don't. But every choice I make is bathed in the light. And it forms like a bubble around me and moves through my life independent of my thinking, but not of my emptiness. Hate sin, but not the sinner. Yeah. Hate the sin, but not the sinner. I find it much easier to love. And then I find that I might, okay, I'll go with that. I see what you're saying, Helen. It's a hard thing this week. But I don't hate the sinner ever. That's the whole point. That is the entire point, because I am the sinner. If I hate myself, I will hate others. If I learn to move beyond the sin nature of my ego mind, if I dissolve the duality of my sinful nature and penetrate into the oneness of being, my true higher self, if I touch into my true higher self, then I'm not hating the sinner anymore. And then I can bring that to the other people in my life and not hate them either. Might not like what they do, might not like what they say, but it eliminates hate. Thank you. I'm confused with the times. I thought it was 9:30 this morning. Oh, sorry, Catherine. We no, Not Church begins at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and Mystic Tea Salon starts at 11 a.m. Eastern time. I changed the times about a month ago, and so it's cool. God is gracious and humble. Yeah, God is gracious and humble. Humility, compassion, selflessness is the nature of God. And I'm struggling with using the word God, okay? There's a patriarchal thing going on there with God. It's just convenient, it's culturally contextual, but it's also super patriarchal. And so I don't know what thumbnail word to use, but I want to recognize that I want to recognize to you all that not only do I understand the patriarchal nature of it in terms of the social context for the last 1,000 years or more, 2,000 years, with vis-a-vis feminism and women in society, not just in the church, but in the oppressive nature of the society that grows out of Christianity. I get all that. I'm struggling with what word to use. And I tried goddess. I even slipped it in today, but both of them do not work. I don't know what to use. I need a shorthand. Spirit. But it's got to be like easy, short of maybe spirit. I don't know. Beautiful answer to your question. You're welcome, Alfred. I don't know if I was the one who was answering it. I'm not. I'm not even sure it was somebody. It could have been somebody else. Um, in this chat is what I mean, and I didn't even see it. Jim, when practicing Tonglen, I also find it helpful to breathe in the fear and the hatred I feel within myself and breathe out the love and the light rather than trying to push it away and bring it into the light. Yes, you breathe in your own fear. That's the other part of this. And I didn't bring that up today. But I'm glad that you did, Jim, because this is totally true. This part of the Tonglen practice as well. You don't just have to use this to fix the world out there. You can use it to fix yourself. You can pull in your dark parts and your fear parts, and you can breathe them in from, well, they're kind of up in here, and you breathe them into here, and then you breathe them out of yourself. And it is a cleansing practice. It cleanses us. And it's not like cleansing, like, you know, like a physical cleanse, a juice cleanse. I guess it's like a juice cleanse, only it's your soul that you're cleansing. We've got about 11 minutes left here. Let's see. I had a pastor who rang those bells on Easter Sunday like crazy in the celebration of the resurrection. The stiff upper lips were freaking out. Yeah, the congregation, God loved them all, okay? Goddess loved them all, okay? New Englanders call the Congregationalists the frozen chosen. And I was frozen as well myself among them. Well, less frozen, let's say. Um, the source, the divine, the great I am, love. Yeah, those are all words that I use. That's true. Source, the divine, the great I am, love. And, Islam has 99 wonderful words, the 99 names for God, goddess, love. The light inside is not a man or a woman. So let's call Heshi God. I'm for that. I am in favor of that only because it's not a man or a woman, it's the divine light. I had no gender when I was dead. Okay, not only did God not have gender, I had no gender. My soul had no gender. I was a bit of light. I barely had form, let alone gender. Unconditional love, yes, for sure. So long to say, though. The light inside is not a man. Some people say not to pray for the evil people. I don't agree. They are God's children too. Heshe's children too. They have just chosen to align themselves with the dark side. Yeah, it's kind of like Star Wars that way. It's true. Pray for everybody. Pray for them. What about the Hebraic names? Yahweh, Elohim, Adonai. Yeah, I'm cool with all those. Except, the only problem with Yahweh is that it doesn't have any vowels, so technically it's not pronounceable. That's the Huvier, or the YHWH. Elohim, I like Elohim, and by the way, that's a plural name for God. And the I am that I am. Yeah. Genderless, unfathomable algorithm. Yeah, that's one of mine. Unfathomable algorithm. Maybe I should use that. That's one of my names. Thanks for bringing that up, Ali. I forgot about that. Angels are androgynous. God is probably androgynous too. Yeah, more than androgynous because no body. As much as angels have body, God has less body. Although God comes to us in embodied form. I mean, God comes to us as angels. That's an embodiment of God, even though it's like not our body. It's well, I'm going to head down that route. What about source and creator? Yep, those I use those. The word God is beyond male and female. It should be. I think it is, but I'm a man, and I recognize that a lot of women in the church disagree, and they're right about the oppression and the patriarchy. So I want to recognize that. I don't want to exclude them, but I'm trying to figure that out. I feel inside I have no gender now. You don't. That's a beautiful thing. Peter, do you fast because I'm trying to out for a week? Have you any advice? Yeah, I used to fast. I mean, you can tell that I don't fast as much as I used to because I used to fast, and as a result, I didn't have any body fat for a while. I mean, I had some, of course, but I don't fast. I haven't fasted in a long time. Fasting, when I did fast, and I've thought about doing it again, I did a juice fast, a 3-day juice fast. I would drink water with lemon and honey, or juice that I watered down 50-50 or by 2/3, so that I could keep my sugar levels up so I could function in the world. I found it very mentally focusing, and you have to come out of it slowly. You have to be very careful about putting food in your stomach after 3 days. And you also have to, how do I put this delicately? You have to make sure everything on the inside is clean. I'll just leave it at that. Or there's problems. You'll get plumbing problems if you don't. Hate was in quote, not literally meant. I feel inside I have no gender now. Peter, do you fast? Unfathomable algorithm. It's embodiments of the fundamental interconnectedness, the prime source, the maker of all, the father, mother, mother, father. Do you believe everything going on is in alignment with biblical prophecy? And also, what is your interpretation of salvation? Micah, baby, that's great. Does it matter if it's in line with biblical prophecy or not? What difference does that make? I have to ask. And I don't know, frankly, because for the last several thousand years, especially in the last 50 years, and in particular in the last 30 years, lots of prophets, small p, have come out and said, this is the end times. Hal Lindsey to start with. And I could name a bunch of others if I had time to Google them up on Google, including Paul. He's the one who began it. You got to ask yourself about the end times and the cataclysm of the world. Well, humanity might end. The universe isn't, and the galaxy's not gonna, and the solar system's not gonna. Earth is not gonna. Many of the animals aren't gonna. Human beings might. We might do it to ourselves. And if we do, it'll be our fault. I think we need to take the warnings of the current situation seriously. I think we need to lean into the light and the presence of salvation that Jesus preached, that's available to every single human being looking within, finding the I am who you are already made that way. I was forgiven after I died, and I didn't deserve it. My salvation came from God above, and the presence of love and forgiveness speaking to my heart directly. And yes, sharing love on earth and gathering love now is my key, but not the totality of my key. My key was teeny tiny in comparison to the undeserved forgiveness and mercy of the divine, who is salvation. Fear not. Fear not. Seek the light and become the light. You are the light of the world. And we hide it under a bushel basket, under our own beds, inside ourselves. And when we take the basket off, after we pull it out from under the bed, we see it for ourselves. Yeah, got both male and female hormones. Do that for sure. Great question, Micah. I hope that helped, Allie. The words of the Bible tend to water the spirit. Yeah, that's always the problem. Words always water the spirit. Kind of dilute it. Damnation is an ego belief. Self-realization. Yeah. I'm the only one who got my own way. I'm the only one in my own way. I damn myself. I judge myself. But I am utterly and wholly, capital H, capital WH, forgiven. Some people believe this is an illusion, as in A Course in Miracles. If that is so, then why do we finally arrive at God? The illusion is no more. And we will be reabsorbed in the eternal everlasting love of God. Yeah, you're going to be absorbed into the eternal everlasting love of God, and we only have a minute left. And we should take that, John, to Mystic Tea Salon if you want to, and Stardust. Why do I feel undeserving? I didn't feel undeserving. That wasn't a feeling. That was an experience. That's what happened. In the Stardust, if you want to come and talk about that at Mystic Tea Salon, I hope you do. I didn't feel it. That's just what happened to me. In comparison with the greatest purity of unlimitedness of the divine self and purity of being and wholeness and love and light, I was nothing in comparison. Anyway, let's spend just a moment. I've got a minute here. I want to say thank you for everybody for coming and for everybody who gave this morning. I'm going to spend a moment here and see whether it turns to 11 o'clock right now. No, we have a minute. So hold on a sec. I thank you for this gathering today. I speak out loud because that's what communities do. And I know you don't need me to talk out loud to hear me. And I don't need to use words. Be our presence. Be in us and with us. Today and this week, and every time we need you, this week, remind us to dive within. All right, my friends. Peace and love. I'm going to see you next week. Until then, I'm not even sure how to shut this off now because I don't even have a shut off button.